Time for another Roo Tale. Today I'm going to tell you another story about something that happened to Dipstick Donnie. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about Dipstick Donnie and Paul the Brit and their shenanigans in the place where I worked. And in this particular case, this happened to Dipstick Donnie by himself. We had large racks with material in them, and some of those racks held large, long pieces of angle, 40-foot pieces. So we had a 10-ton crane, bridge crane, that moved over top of that and had 2 trolleys and an operator, and so they would go through and pick up however many pieces of angle they needed to produce the next project, and they would move them around onto a rail car, and then they got shifted around through the place where I worked that way. Well, the guys that were working on the crew were shifting some angle around, and in the process of doing that, they took some of the angle and they shifted the end of it out into what was the walkway at the end of where the rack sat. Well, Dipstick Donnie was walking through the shop and really was just not paying attention. He was walking through with his head down, and because he had his head down, he didn't see the angle sticking out, and when he hit it hard enough to knock him flat, and it hit him so hard that the hard hat cut across the bridge of his nose, and so he's lying there on the floor bleeding, and had to go get collected, picked up, and then had to go get first aid and get himself sorted out so that he could go back to work. But a couple of things were going on there, and they are safety issues, things that we need to be aware of when we are putting material here, there, or some other place. We need to pay attention as to where we're putting it and what the hazards are that we're creating by where we put that material. Now, it's a material placement, material organization. This could happen in a boneyard if you're on a job site. It could happen inside a shop. We have to pay attention to where we're putting our material. The other side of that particular issue is situational awareness, and we talk about this quite a lot, but in this particular situation, Dipstick Donnie was walking through the shop. He wasn't paying attention. He had his mind on something else. He was going to do something in a hurry, had his head down, didn't really pay attention to where he was or the situation that was around him, wasn't situationally aware, and so got himself hurt. So those two things taken together are two good takeaways for this particular story. First of all, be mindful of where you're putting the material when you're shifting it around, making sure you're not creating a hazard for someone else. And then also, when you find yourself in a situation, no matter what the situation is, work very hard to be situationally aware. Pay attention to what's going on so you don't end up like Dipstick Donnie running in to a piece of angle and knocking yourself down on the floor and almost out in the process. So that's the Roo Tale for today. Try and think about that the next time you're moving material or just making your way around a job site or through the shop.